3 days before the Dubai trip, I spent $26,000 planning for my entire family. My father called me into his home office. The tickets were printed, the luxury hotel suites booked, the private tours arranged. I thought he wanted to thank me. Instead, he slid my passport across his desk and said the words that shattered everything. "Jaime, we need to give your spot to Madison. She's going to be family soon, and frankly, she deserves this more than you do." 2 months before that crushing moment in my father's office, I was on top of the world. My marketing firm, after 5 years of grinding and sacrificing, had just landed the Morrison Group contract. It was the kind of deal that transforms a small business into an empire. While celebrating alone in my office that night, because there was no one else there at 10 p.m., I made a decision that came from love, but would teach me the hardest lesson of my life. I decided to give my family the trip of their dreams for my parents' 35th wedding anniversary. Not just any trip, but Dubai. First-class flights, 5-star hotels, private tours, the whole magnificent experience they'd always talked about, but never believed they'd afford. Growing up in our modest Cleveland home, I was always the responsible one. Straight A's, scholarship to college, working 3 jobs to avoid student loans. My younger brother, Tyler, he coasted through everything. Failed out of community college twice, jumped from job to job, always landing back at home where Mom would make his favorite meals and Dad would slip him cash with a pat on the back and a, "You'll find your way, son." My sister Amy, the baby of the family, at least tried. She was in nursing school, struggling but determined. And cousin Sarah, who lived with us, after her parents died when she was 15. She was like another sister, quiet but solid. I threw myself into planning this Dubai trip with the same intensity I brought to my business. 6 first-class tickets for the second week of March. The Burj Al Arab Hotel, the one that looks like a sail. Private desert safaris. Dinner at the underwater restaurant. A yacht day. Every detail meticulously planned. Every experience carefully chosen to give my family memories that would last forever. Tyler called 3 weeks after I'd booked everything. "Jamie, I have news. I'm engaged." I nearly dropped my phone. Tyler, who couldn't keep a relationship longer than 3 months, engaged. "Her name's Madison. She's incredible. You're going to love her." I met Madison at a family dinner that Sunday. She was beautiful. I'll give her that. Long blonde hair, perfect teeth, the kind of Instagram-ready appearance that made you wonder if she ever looked human. She hung on Tyler's every word, laughed at Dad's terrible jokes, complimented Mom's pot roast like it was Michelin-starred cuisine. "Jaime runs a marketing company," Mom said proudly during dessert. Madison's eyes lit up. "Oh my God, that's amazing! I'm actually an influencer. We should totally collaborate." An influencer. Of course. I checked her Instagram later. 15,000 followers, mostly bot accounts from the looks of the engagement rates. Posts full of motivational quotes over sunset photos she didn't take. But I wanted to be happy for Tyler. Maybe this was what he needed. Someone who believed in him, even if she seemed a bit much. The trouble started 2 weeks later. I was at my office when my assistant knocked. "Jaime, you need to see this." She handed me her phone. There I was, in a video on Madison's Instagram story. It was from last Sunday's dinner, but edited. She'd cut and rearranged the conversation to make it look like I was interrogating her, being hostile, the jealous older sister who couldn't stand her brother's happiness. The caption read, "When you're trying so hard to be accepted by your future sister-in-law, but she just sees you as a threat. Why are successful women the worst to other women?" The comments were brutal. Hundreds of people calling me bitter, jealous, a toxic feminist who couldn't stand to see her brother happy. The video had been shared over 3,000 times in our community Facebook groups. My phone rang. It was Mom. "Jaime, what did you do to Madison?" "She's been crying all morning." Tyler's furious. "Mom, that video was edited. I was being nice to her. I asked about her work, her family, normal questions. Well, it doesn't look that way. You need to apologize. I drove to my parents' house, my hands shaking with rage. Madison was there, curled up on the couch, Tyler's arm around her while she dabbed at completely dry eyes. I didn't mean for it to blow up like this, she said, her voice small. I was just expressing my feelings. I'm sorry if you're upset. Tyler glared at me. You've always had to be the center of attention. Now when I finally find someone, you can't handle it. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed. Jamie, you've always been hard on Tyler. Maybe you don't realize how you come across. Hard on Tyler? I'd paid for his car when he wrecked his. I'd gotten him 3 different jobs through my connections, all of which he'd quit or been fired from. I'd never asked for thanks, never threw it in his face. But looking at Madison's small smile, when no one else was watching, I knew this was just the beginning. I left my parents' house that day knowing I needed to clear the air with Madison directly. No family audience, no Tyler playing protective fiancé. 3 days later, I texted her asking to meet for coffee. She suggested a place downtown, one of those Instagram-perfect cafes with exposed brick and hanging plants. She arrived 20 minutes late, no apology, and ordered a $17 latte that she photographed for 10 minutes before taking a sip. Madison, we got off on the wrong foot. I want to support you and Tyler. She leaned back, studying me with eyes that were suddenly sharp as surgical instruments. The sweet persona evaporated like morning mist. Cut the crap, Jaime. We both know what this is about. Excuse me? You've been the golden child forever. The successful daughter. The one everyone brags about. Now Tyler has someone who actually sees his potential, and you can't stand it. I kept my voice steady. I want Tyler to be happy. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want Tyler to stay your pathetic little brother so you can keep feeling superior. Well, newsflash. I'm here now, and things are going to change. What do you want, Madison? She stirred her latte slowly. What I want is simple. I want the respect I deserve as Tyler's future wife. I want to be included in family decisions, and I want you to back off. I'm not trying to exclude you. Really? Then why didn't you mention the Dubai trip at dinner? The one you're taking everyone on next month? My stomach dropped. I hadn't announced it yet, wanting to surprise everyone at Mom's birthday next week. How do you know about that? Tyler saw the charges on your credit card statement when you left your purse open. $26,000. That's quite a gift. That's none of your business. See, that's where you're wrong. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to something. I did some research on you, Jaime. You're successful, sure, but success makes people vulnerable. All those clients who trust you, they'd be pretty interested to know what kind of person you really are. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the narrative. Successful businesswoman who bullies her brother's fiancé, who uses money to control her family. It's not a good look, especially when that businesswoman depends on her reputation for contracts. You're threatening me? I'm explaining reality. You can make this easy or hard. Easy means you welcome me into the family, include me in everything, and stop acting like you're better than everyone. Hard means I make your life very, very complicated. She stood up, leaving her barely touched latte. Oh, and that Dubai trip? I'll need a first-class ticket too. Tyler won't go without me. After she left, I sat there feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. But Madison had made a crucial mistake. She'd threatened me in writing. I pulled out my phone and saw she'd been recording our conversation on hers, probably planning to edit it later. 2 could play that game. I called my assistant. Remember that background check service we used for the Henderson account? I need a favor. 48 hours later, I had a file that made my blood run cold. Madison Reeves wasn't even her real name. She was Catherine Mills, and she had a fascinating history. 3 engagements in 5 years, all to men from wealthy families, 2 restraining orders from ex-boyfriends. And the kicker? She was still legally married to a man in Nevada named Robert Mills, a real estate developer she'd taken for $500,000 in their ongoing divorce. I needed to tell Tyler immediately. I drove to his apartment that evening with the file. Tyler, We need to talk about Madison. He opened the door but didn't invite me in. Unless you're here to apologize, we have nothing to discuss. She's not who she says she is. Her real name is Catherine Mills. She's married. His face went cold. Madison warned me you'd do this. What? She said you'd try to break us up, that you'd make up lies, hire investigators, do anything to keep me under your thumb. Tyler, I have proof. I held out the file. He knocked it from my hands, papers scattering across his doorstep. Get out. And if you come near Madison again, I'll file a harassment complaint. Tyler, please. You know what your problem is, Jaime? You can't stand that someone loves me more than you. That Madison sees me as more than just your screw-up little brother. I've never thought of you that way. Really? Then why do you always have to save me? Pay for things? Fix my problems? You don't do that for equals. You do it for people you pity. Madison appeared behind him in a silk robe, his apartment clearly now her domain. Is everything okay, baby? Jaime was just leaving. Madison looked at me with triumph in her eyes. Oh, before you go, Jaime, you should check your messages. I sent you something important. I looked at my phone in my car. She'd sent screenshots of text messages, supposedly from me to a private investigator, discussing how to break up Tyler and Madison. They were completely fabricated, but expertly done. The timestamps, the contact name, even the writing style was close to mine. The message with them was simple. Stay away, or these go public. Your clients will love knowing you investigate your brother's girlfriend. 3 days before the Dubai trip, I walked into my father's home office, thinking he wanted to go over the final itinerary. I'd sent everyone their tickets that morning. Watched the excitement build in our family group chat. Amy had been sending hotel pictures all week. Sarah had bought a new swimsuit. Even Mom, who rarely showed enthusiasm, had been researching restaurants. Dad sat behind his desk, the same massive oak piece where he'd lectured me about grades. Told me he was proud of my college acceptance and where I'd told him about starting my business. But today, his face was stone. Mom stood in the corner, arms wrapped around herself like armor. Tyler leaned against the bookshelf, and Madison sat in the chair across from Dad's desk like she owned it. Sit down, Jaime. I remained standing. What's going on? Dad slid my passport across the desk. We need to talk about Dubai. Is there a problem with the flights? The problem, Madison said, her voice dripping false concern, is that this trip is causing family division. I didn't ask you. Dad raised his hand. Madison is going to be family. She has a right to speak. Since when? Since I realized what you've been doing, Dad said. Using money to control us. This trip, it's not a gift. It's a power play. A power play? I spent $26,000 to give you all a dream vacation. To remind us who has the money, Tyler said. Who's successful? Who we should be grateful to. That's insane. Madison pulled out her phone. Is it? You didn't even invite me initially. Your brother's fiancée. The woman he loves. I booked this before you existed in our lives. See? Madison turned to my parents. The hostility, the dismissiveness. This is what I've been dealing with. Mom finally spoke, her voice weak. Jaime, maybe it would be better if you sat this trip out. What? Madison has never been anywhere, Dad said. She grew up with nothing, no opportunities. This could be life-changing for her. So you want me to give up my spot on the trip I paid for? We'll pay you back, Tyler said. With what money? Dad shifted uncomfortably. We're family. We'll figure it out. Actually, Madison said, producing a folder. I've already handled it. I called the airline and hotel. Since the bookings are for a family group and Tyler and I are engaged, I was able to modify the reservations. One name change. Very simple. You can't do that without my authorization. I'm the primary account holder. Oh, but your father is listed as an authorized user on your business credit card. He gave permission. I turned to my father, feeling the floor drop away. You authorized this? It's one trip, Jaime. You can take another vacation any time. This isn't about the trip. You're removing me from the vacation I planned and paid for to give my spot to someone who's manipulating all of you. There you go again, Madison said, tears appearing instantly. Attacking me, making me the villain. This is exactly the toxic behavior we're trying to address. Tyler moved to comfort her. You see what we're dealing with? She can't even have a civil conversation. Civil? You're stealing from me. Stealing? Dad stood up, his face red. Is that what you think of us? We're thieves now? Maybe Madison is right. Maybe you do use money as a weapon. Amy appeared in the doorway. I felt relief until she spoke. Jaime, Madison talked to me. If I support this decision, I get your business class seat. I know it sounds bad, but I'm drowning in student loans. The money from downgrading could really help me. You too? Sarah joined her. Your suite has 2 bedrooms. Madison said I could have the other one. I've never stayed anywhere that nice. They'd bought off my family with pieces of what I'd already given them. The betrayal was complete. Madison stood, pulling out another document. There's one more thing. My lawyer prepared this. It's a cease and desist for harassment and defamation. If you continue to spread lies about me or interfere with my relationship with Tyler, I'll file a formal suit. The damage to your business reputation would be unfortunate. You're suing me? Only if you force me to. All I want is to be accepted into this family. Is that so much to ask? I looked around the room at my family. Dad, who I'd idolized. Mom, who taught me to stand up for myself. Tyler, who I'd protected all our lives. Amy and Sarah, who I'd considered my best friends. So that's it? You're all choosing her over me? We're choosing peace, Dad said. You can accept Madison, or you can keep fighting and tear this family apart. Your choice. I picked up my passport. I need the rest of the travel documents. Madison handed me a folder. Everything's here. Don't worry, we'll send pictures. As I walked out, I heard Tyler say, You did the right thing, Dad. Maybe now Jaime will learn she can't control everything. Mom's voice followed me. Should we go after her? Let her cool off, Dad replied. She'll come around. She always does. But this time would be different. This time, they'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed, and Madison, in her greed and arrogance, had made one crucial error. She'd left me with access to everything that mattered. I sat in my car outside my parents' house for 20 minutes, hands shaking with rage. Then I did what I always do in crisis. I compartmentalized, strategized, and executed. First call was to my lawyer, Sandra. I need you to review some contracts for me. Travel bookings. How much control does the primary payer retain? Full control, unless formally transferred. Why? I'll explain later. Can you be at my office in an hour? Next, I drove home and pulled up every receipt, every booking confirmation, every email chain about the Dubai trip. $26,000 of my money, and they wanted to hand it over to a con artist. But Madison had made a crucial mistake. She might have gotten a name change on the passenger list, but I was still the primary account holder. The credit card was mine. The booking references were in my email. I called the luxury travel agency. This is Jaime Patterson. I need to make some modifications to my Dubai booking. Of course, Miss Patterson. How can we help? I need to adjust the accommodation levels. There's been a change in budget. Certainly. What changes would you like to make? Over the next 2 hours, I systematically downgraded everything. First class became basic economy. The Burj Al Arab became a standard Hilton. The private tours became group excursions. The yacht day was canceled. The fancy restaurants were removed. I kept the core structure of the trip intact, just stripped it of every luxury. Miss Patterson, these changes will result in a significant refund. Approximately $19,000. Perfect. Process it immediately, please. Would you like to modify the return tickets as well? Absolutely. By the time Sandra arrived at my office, I'd recovered most of my money and left them with the trip worth about $7,000. Still Dubai, but more like Dubai on a shoestring budget. Tell me everything, Sandra said. I laid it all out. Madison's threats, the family betrayal, the stolen trip. Sandra listened, taking notes. The cease and desist is garbage. She has no grounds. But Jaime, there's something else here. You said your father is an authorized user on your business card. For emergencies. He's never used it. You might want to check that. I pulled up my business account, something I'd been avoiding in the chaos of the week. There it was. $15,000 in charges over the past month. Jewelry stores, wedding venues, designer clothes, all authorized by my father. He's been funding their wedding with my money. That's embezzlement, Jaime. Family or not. I stared at the screen, piecing it together. He knew he couldn't pay me back for the trip. He'd already spent my money on Madison. What do you want to do? Document everything. But don't file anything yet. I'm not done. After Sandra left, I made another call. This one to Robert Mills in Nevada. Mr. Mills? My name is Jaime Patterson. I believe you know Catherine Mills, also going by Madison Reeves. His laugh was bitter. What has she done now? She's engaged to my brother. Well, still married to you. That sounds like Katie. Let me guess, your family has money? Some. She's like a bloodhound for it. Finds families with wealth and weak spots, worms her way in. She got me for $500,000 before I caught on. Would you be interested in a free trip to Dubai? Excuse me? I need someone to serve her with divorce papers. Publicly. I'll cover your flights, hotel, and pay for your lawyer. Lady, for the chance to see Katie's face. When she realizes she's caught, I'd swim to Dubai. Next, I booked my own Dubai trip. The presidential suite at the Burj Al Arab, the one with the butler and the gold everything. I invited my real family. Margaret, my mentor who'd taught me everything about business. Diana, my best friend since college who'd held my hair back through breakups and celebrated every success. 2 young women I'd been mentoring, Aisha and Jennifer, who reminded me daily why lifting others up mattered. You sure about this? Diana asked when I called her. That's your whole family. No, I said. My family is people who love me for who I am, not what I can give them. 3 days passed. The family group chat exploded with excitement about the trip. Madison posted countdown videos on Instagram. Amy shared packing lists. Mom sent messages about how proud she was that the family was coming together. I stayed silent, letting them think they'd won. The morning of the departure, I sent a single message to the group chat. Have a safe flight. Enjoy economy. My phone immediately exploded with calls. I turned it off and headed to the airport with my real family. At the first-class lounge, Margaret raised her champagne glass to knowing your worth, to choosing your family, Diana added. I clinked glasses with them, feeling lighter than I had in years. My phone, turned back on for the flight, showed 57 missed calls and hundreds of messages. I archived them all without reading. But the best message came from Robert Mills. Boarding my flight now. Katie's about to learn what karma looks like. We landed in Dubai 6 hours before my family's flight. I'd booked us on Emirates first class, the one with the shower suites and the bar. My family was flying economy on a different airline, the kind where you pay for water and the seats don't recline. Diana laughed as we settled into the Rolls-Royce that came with our suite booking, your father's face, when he realizes what happened. It's not about revenge, I said, though we both knew that was only partially true. We checked into the presidential suite at the Burj Al Arab, 2,400 square feet of obscene luxury. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Persian Gulf, a team of butlers, gold fixtures that actually contained gold, the kind of excess that makes you understand why revolutions happen. This is insane, Jennifer said, one of my mentees, spinning in the massive living room. This is what $26,000 actually buys, I said, when it's not being stolen. Margaret was already on her laptop. The case study writes itself. Family betrayal and female entrepreneurship. The academic journals will eat this up. I'd asked Margaret to document everything, partly for her research, partly for evidence if Madison followed through on her threats. My phone buzzed. Amy's text. What did you do? Then Tyler. This is kidnapping or something. You can't just change our flights. Mom, Jaime, please call us. There must be a misunderstanding. I texted back once. No misunderstanding. Enjoy your trip. Their flight landed at 2 in the morning Dubai time. I knew because Madison was live streaming the whole disaster. Her followers got to watch her meltdown in real time when she discovered that not only were they in economy, but middle seats, scattered throughout the plane. This is illegal, she shrieked at the gate agent in a video that would later go viral for all the wrong reasons. They took a regular taxi to the Hilton Garden Inn, where they discovered their suites were actually 2 standard rooms with a connecting door. Madison's live stream showed her sitting on the polyester bedspread, mascara running, while Tyler tried to console her. It's still Dubai, baby. We'll make the best of it. The best of it? I told everyone we were staying at the Burj Al Arab. Do you know how humiliating this is? The comments on her live were brutal. First world problems much? Imagine complaining about a free trip to Dubai. Tu la run pro. The next morning, I had breakfast on my terrace, watching dolphins play in the Gulf. Diana showed me her phone. Madison had posted a photo trying to make the Hilton look luxurious, but people were calling her out for the obvious stock photo. She's losing followers by the hundreds, Diana said. At noon, I took my group to the Gold Souk. By pure coincidence, my family had booked the group tour that stopped there at the same time. I watched from a jewelry store's second floor as they trudged behind a guide holding a yellow umbrella, 40 tourists packed together in the 100-degree heat. Madison saw me first. Her face went from red to purple. She broke away from the group, Tyler trailing behind. You think this is funny? She hissed. I think it's what $7,000 buys. That's what was left after your refunds. Refunds? For the first-class upgrades you didn't need. The luxury hotel you didn't deserve. The private tours you couldn't appreciate. Tyler stepped forward. You can't do this. We're family. Family doesn't steal from family, Tyler. Or did you think I wouldn't notice the $15,000 Dad charged to my business card for your wedding? His face went white. That was supposed to be a loan. Without asking? That's called theft. Madison grabbed his arm. Don't engage with her. She's recording this. Actually, Margaret said, appearing beside me with her phone, I'm recording this for academic purposes. The intersection of familial exploitation and gendered economics. Who the hell are you? Madison snarled. Dr. Margaret Chen. I study family dynamics and entrepreneurship. You're fascinating, Catherine. Madison froze. My name is Madison. No, said a voice from behind her. Your name is Catherine. Catherine Mills. My wife. Robert Mills stood there in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts, looking like any other tourist except for the legal documents in his hand. Madison's face went from purple to white. Robert? What are you doing here? Serving you with divorce papers and a lawsuit for bigamy, since you got engaged while we're still married. He turned to Tyler. You must be the new Mark. Buddy, run. Run far and fast. Tyler looked between Madison and Robert. You're married? It's not what it looks like, Madison said, her voice pitched high with panic. It's exactly what it looks like, Robert said. He handed Tyler a folder. Proof of our marriage, her real name, her history, 3 other engagements, all to guys with money. She's a professional con artist. The crowd from the tour group had gathered, phones out. Madison's humiliation was being broadcast live to the world. But the best part? She'd been streaming when Robert appeared. Her own followers watched her exposure in real time. Tyler, baby, I can explain. Madison reached for him. Tyler stepped back. You're married. You lied about everything. I was going to tell you. When? After you cleaned out my family? But then Tyler said something that shocked everyone. I mean, I knew you had secrets. I figured you were after money. I just thought I could use you to get to Jaime's connections before you figured out I was broke. The entire crowd gasped. Madison stared at him. You were using me? You were using me. I was at least going to marry you first. They stood there, two con artists realizing they'd been conning each other. It would have been funny if it weren't so pathetic. My father pushed through the crowd, my mother behind him. What is going on here? Your son and his fiancée are both con artists, Robert said helpfully. Though technically she's my wife, so she can't be his fiancée. Dad looked at me. You did this. You brought him here. I brought him here to expose the truth. Something none of you wanted to hear when I tried to tell you. Jamie, Mom said quietly, we should discuss this privately. Like you discussed removing me from my own trip privately? Like you discussed stealing $15,000 from my business privately? That was a misunderstanding, Dad said. No, a misunderstanding is taking the wrong coffee order. Embezzlement is a felony. Madison had recovered enough to try one last manipulation. This is harassment. I'll sue all of you. With what money? Robert laughed. I've frozen all our assets pending the divorce, including that $15,000 engagement ring on your finger, which was purchased with marital funds. Madison looked at the ring, then at Tyler, then at the crowd filming everything. For the first time since I'd met her, she had nothing to say. She turned and ran, pushing through the crowd, her perfect image shattered completely. Tyler stood there, alone for once, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. I need a drink. It's noon, Amy said. And we need to talk as a family. We're not a family, I said. Families don't betray each other for upgrade seats and better rooms. Sarah finally spoke. Jaime, we made a mistake. We're sorry. Sorry because you got caught? Or sorry because you did it? None of them answered. That evening, we met at a restaurant in the hotel. Not my hotel, of course. They weren't allowed in the Burj Al Arab without a reservation they couldn't afford. We sat at a long table in the Hilton's buffet restaurant, the kind of place that serves 15 different cuisines badly. Margaret insisted on joining, for documentation purposes. Diana came for moral support. Robert Mills had flown back to Nevada with his signed papers, mission accomplished. Madison was MIA, her social media accounts deleted, her phone going straight to voicemail. Tyler looked broken. For the first time in his life, he couldn't charm his way out of consequences. So you knew she was a con artist? I asked. He pushed food around his plate. Not at first. But things didn't add up. She had expensive tastes, but no job. She knew too much about your business. She was always pushing for information about your clients. And you went along with it? I thought I could control it. Use her to get introductions to your network. Maybe finally start something of my own. By stealing from me? By leveraging connections. It's what everyone does. No, Tyler. It's what parasites do. Dad slammed his water glass down. Enough. We're still family. Are we? I turned to him. You embezzled $15,000 from my company. That's a crime. I was going to pay it back. With what? Your retirement fund? The mortgage you just refinanced? I know about that too, Dad. You've been in financial trouble for months, and instead of asking for help, you stole from me. Mom started crying. We didn't want to burden you. But you were fine with betraying me? It wasn't supposed to be like this, Amy said. Madison made it sound reasonable. She said you were controlling us with money, that this trip was about power, and you believed her over me? Your sister, who supported you through everything? She was convincing, Sarah said quietly. She knew exactly what to say to each of us. Margaret spoke up. That's classic manipulation. Con artists study their marks, find psychological weak points. For your father, it was pride about his son. For your mother, avoiding conflict. For Amy, financial pressure. For Sarah, the desire to belong. And for Tyler? I asked. Greed, Margaret said simply. The belief that he deserved success without earning it. Tyler's face flushed. You don't know me. I've studied 100 cases like you. Entitled family members who think their successful relative owes them access and opportunity. You're not special, Tyler. You're a cliché. The brutal assessment hung in the air. Finally, Dad spoke. What do you want from us, Jaime? I want the $15,000 back. I want a written apology. And I want you to admit, all of you, that you chose a stranger over your own daughter and sister because she promised you things you wanted. If we do that, Mom asked, then maybe we can start rebuilding. But it will never be the same. That's not fair, Tyler said. One mistake shouldn't destroy everything. Diana laughed. One mistake? You conspired with a con artist to destroy your sister's reputation and steal her business connections. Your father embezzled money. Your entire family removed her from a trip she paid for. That's not one mistake. That's a pattern of betrayal. Amy was crying now. We're sorry, Jaime. We're so sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't undo it. Margaret pulled out a document. There's something else we need to discuss. Jamie, tell them about the offer. I took a breath. Margaret's investment firm wants to buy my company. $8 million. My family stared. Even Tyler stopped sulking. $8 million? Dad whispered. But there's a condition. The sale includes a non-compete clause. Anyone who's been involved in corporate espionage or theft related to the company is blacklisted from the industry for 5 years. That means us, Tyler said, understanding immediately. It means you and Dad, for the embezzlement and conspiracy. Mom, Amy, and Sarah aren't implicated legally. You do that to your own family? Mom asked. You did worse to me, for a lot less money. Tyler stood up. This is insane. You're destroying my future over one mistake. No, Tyler. You destroyed your future when you chose to con me instead of earning your own success. He stormed out. Dad followed him, but not before turning back. I never meant for it to go this far, but you let it. And when it came time to choose, you chose wrong. After they left, Amy, Sarah, and Mom remained. What happens now? Sarah asked. That's up to you. I'm finishing my vacation with my real family. When I get back, if you want to rebuild our relationship, we can try. But it starts with accountability. Mom reached across the table. I failed you. I was so worried about keeping peace that I forgot to keep faith with you. Your father and Tyler, they've always had this dynamic. Him trying to prove Tyler could succeed, Tyler taking advantage of it. I should have stopped it years ago. It was the most honest thing she'd said in years. Amy added, Madison showed me messages. Fake ones. I know now. But they made you look so cruel. I was stupid to believe them. We all were, Sarah said. She was like a virus, finding our weaknesses and exploiting them. I stood up. I have a yacht tour tomorrow with my friends. The one you were supposed to be on. I need time to think about whether we can come back from this. As I walked away, Mom called out, Jaime? The offer from Margaret's firm. Are you taking it? That depends on whether my family gives me a reason not to. Whether they show me they've learned from this. The yacht glided across the Persian Gulf, Dubai's skyline glittering in the distance. Diana and I sat on the deck while Margaret was inside, on a conference call with her partners. The 2 young entrepreneurs I'd been mentoring, Aisha and Jennifer, were taking photos at the bow. $8 million, Diana said. You could disappear. Start over anywhere. I could, but you won't. I watched the water, thinking about everything that had led to this moment. My company isn't just a business. It's proof that I could build something from nothing. Unlike Tyler. This isn't about Tyler anymore. It's about me. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. We need to talk, please. An hour later, I met him at a coffee shop near their hotel. He looked older than when we'd left Cleveland, like the week had aged him 5 years. I've been thinking about my father, he started. Your grandfather. He always favored my younger brother. Gave him the family business, said I wasn't cut out for it. I became an accountant instead. Steady, reliable, boring. Dad, let me finish. When Tyler was born, I saw myself in him, the one who needed extra chances. I gave him everything I wished I'd been given. But I turned him into something worse than overlooked. I turned him into someone who expected everything without earning anything. And I was the one who earned everything. You were proof that I'd failed with Tyler. Every success you had highlighted his failures. Instead of being proud of you, I resented you for making it look easy. It wasn't easy. I worked 18-hour days. I lost friendships. I sacrificed everything. I know. I see that now. Madison, she saw our dysfunction immediately, played us like instruments. But we let her. We wanted to believe her lies, because they made us feel better about our own failures. Where's Tyler? Gone. Flew back this morning. Said he needs to figure out his life without family help. Good for him. I want to pay back the $15,000. It'll take time, but I'll do it. How? I'll sell the boat. Take a second job. Whatever it takes. The boat was his pride and joy. The one thing he'd bought for himself after 30 years of working. Keep the boat, Dad. But I want something else. What? Therapy. Family therapy. Individual therapy for you and Tyler. Real work on why this happened. You'd forgive the debt for therapy? I'd forgive the debt for genuine change. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Your mother wants to see you. Mom, Amy, and Sarah were waiting in the hotel lobby. They looked smaller somehow, diminished by the weight of their choices. Mom spoke first. I've been a coward. I've watched your father favor Tyler for years and said nothing because it was easier. I let you be the strong one because it meant I didn't have to be. Amy added, I'm dropping out of the Dubai trip early. It feels wrong to enjoy it after what we did. I'll use the ticket change fee as the first payment toward what I owe you. You don't owe me money, Amy. Then what do I owe you? Loyalty. The kind I always gave you. Sarah, quiet Sarah, surprised me most. I'm moving out of your parents' house. I've been hiding there since my parents died, afraid to really live. Watching you this week, seeing how you stood up for yourself, I realized I've been a ghost. I need to find my own strength. Where will you go? I got accepted to grad school in California. I was too scared to go. Not anymore. We sat in that hotel lobby, 5 women trying to find our way back to each other. Not as the family we'd been, but as something new, something more honest. Later that evening, I had dinner with Margaret at the Burj Al Arab's underwater restaurant. Fish swam past floor-to-ceiling windows while we discussed the future. The offer stands, she said. $8 million for your company. But I think you should keep it. Transform it into something bigger. The women you're mentoring, they need what you've built. Not just the business knowledge, but the example of surviving betrayal and thriving. A platform for women dealing with family sabotage in business? Exactly. I'll invest $2 million for 30%. You maintain control, but get capital to expand. And the non-compete? Modify it. Anyone who apologizes and makes amends gets a second chance. But Madison and anyone like her stays banned. Tyler? That's your call. 6 months later, I stood in front of 200 female entrepreneurs at my company's first Family Dynamics and Business Conference. Mom sat in the front row, proud and present, in a way she'd never been before. Amy was beside her, about to graduate nursing school debt-free after I'd paid off her loans. Not as a power play, but as an investment in someone who'd proven their loyalty. Sarah Skyped in from California, where she was thriving in grad school. Dad was in therapy, finally dealing with decades of feelings about his own father. He'd sold the boat voluntarily, using the money to pay for Tyler's therapy too. Tyler himself was working at a nonprofit, his first real job that he'd gotten without family connections. We didn't speak often, but when we did, there was something different in his voice. Humility, maybe? Or just the weight of consequences finally teaching him what my success never could. Madison, or Catherine, had disappeared completely. Her social media presence erased, her con artist career hopefully over. Robert Mills sent me a Christmas card with just 2 words, thank you. I looked out at the audience of women, all facing their own versions of family betrayal and business challenges. Your worth, I said, isn't determined by family approval. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is the courage to demand respect, even from those you love most. The $26,000 trip to Dubai became the best investment I ever made. Not in a vacation, but in learning my true value and finding my real family. Those who celebrate your success instead of resenting it. The applause was thunderous, but the best part was the text from Dad. Watching online, so proud of you, the daughter I should have seen all along. Margaret joined me on stage. Jaime's story isn't unique. Families and money create complicated dynamics. But what is unique is her response. She didn't just survive betrayal, she transformed it into purpose. Diana added from her seat as company COO, the real luxury isn't first-class flights or five-star hotels. It's surrounding yourself with people who see your worth without needing to diminish it. As the conference ended, a young woman approached me. My family is pressuring me to make my brother a partner in my startup. He has no experience, but they say I owe him for being more successful. You don't owe anyone your success, I told her. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is let them fail on their own. And sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is succeed without apology. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you. I needed to hear that. As I packed up that evening, my phone rang. Tyler, I got promoted, he said. Legitimately. Based on my actual work. Congratulations. Jaime, that trip to Dubai. I know I can never make it right, but I want you to know it taught me something. What's that? The view from economy isn't that bad when you've earned your own ticket. I smiled. No, Tyler, it isn't. Looking back now, that $26,000 trip was worth every penny. Not for the luxury we lost, but for the truth it revealed. My family learned that manipulation and betrayal have consequences. I learned that chosen family can be stronger than blood. And Madison? She learned that karma doesn't always wait for the next life. But most importantly, I learned that when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. And when they try to take what you've earned, remind them that success isn't just about money. It's about resilience, integrity, and the courage to stand alone when standing together means betraying yourself. The Dubai sun sets now on a different story than the one I'd planned. Instead of a family vacation album, I have a company that helps women navigate family business betrayals. Instead of grateful relatives, I have genuine relationships with people who value me for who I am, not what I can provide. And instead of $26,000 worth of memories that would have been tainted by fake smiles, I have the satisfaction of knowing I chose myself when everyone else chose greed. That's the real plot twist in this story. Not Madison's exposure or Tyler's schemes or even Dad's embezzlement. It's that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success that doesn't need their approval, happiness that doesn't require their presence, and a life that proves your worth was never theirs to determine. If you've ever been betrayed by family over money, if you've ever been told you owe your success to others who contributed nothing but expectation, if you've ever had to choose between keeping peace and keeping your self-respect, then you understand why this story doesn't end with forgiveness that forgets. It ends with boundaries that protect, standards that don't bend, and the knowledge that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when there's nothing to gain. My father removed me from the trip I funded, but in doing so, he gave me something worth more than any vacation. The freedom to stop funding the dysfunction and start investing in people who saw my generosity as a gift, not an entitlement. And Madison? Last I heard, she was trying to run the same con on a family in Texas, but word travels in certain circles, and Robert Mills made sure her reputation preceded her. Some lessons are learned the hard way, and some people never learn at all. But that's not my problem anymore. My only problem now is deciding where to take my real family next. I'm thinking Switzerland. In first class, of course. The kind you earn, not steal. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have exposed Madison immediately or waited for the perfect moment like I did? And here's the deeper question. How do you maintain family relationships when money reveals who people really are? I'd love to hear your stories about family, money, and the complicated dynamics between success and relationships. If this story resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe to hear more real-life stories about overcoming betrayal and finding your true worth. Share this with someone who needs to hear that their success is theirs to own, not their families to claim. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, your worth isn't negotiable, especially not with people who should love you unconditionally. May you always have the courage to choose yourself when others choose greed.